So recently, this indie video game in development called Hatred has been gaining tons of negative publicity on various gaming sites. Many gaming sites like Kotaku or Polygon were criticizing the game as being overly violent, and they were even trying to use a Tumblr blog as a source as proof this video game is evil. Now, what was this video game that caused so much controversy and drama about? Well, basically, the video game was, well, just a video game where you randomly go on a rampage. And that's about it, really, because not very much else was shown in the trailer. Now, it's pretty ironic that these are the same gaming websites that praise games such as Modern Warfare 2, which had the infamous No Russian mission, or Grand Theft Auto, which is basically going on rampages. The game is nearly everybody who plays that game would use stuff such as the tank cheat code so they could get a tank and basically go on a killing spree throughout a city of random innocent civilians. And of course, these video game websites were criticizing this random shooting spree video game, but a video game where you can go on a shooting spree, shoot hookers and that stuff is perfectly fine to these people. But anyways, I'm going to be talking about now what happens when these people take over gaming distribution sites. Now, if you're unaware, Steam is a digital distribution platform for the PC, and nearly every game uses Steam or is on Steam with the notable exception of EA games. Other than those which require their own Steam clone, nearly every PC game today either uses Steam or is available to purchase on Steam even if it does not use any Steam features such as, well, matchmaking, friends lists, or similar stuff. And as a consequence of this, nearly every PC gamer either uses Steam or owns at least one Steam game, because many games require Steam, and nearly every PC game can be bought on Steam or as a Steam key, which you can then activate on your Steam account. And even though there are games on some minor digital distribution platforms such as GOG or Desura, many of these end up on Steam thanks to Steam Greenlight. As well, people want to buy them on Steam and not the other services. And I've even seen people who have refused to buy games on Steam because they do not use Valve's Steamworks matchmaking service or multiplayer services. Now, the reason I'm talking about this, though, is to show you just how much influence Steam has over PC gaming, because it has a very, very big influence over PC gaming. So what happens when a game isn't let on Steam Greenlight? Now, Steam has pretty low quality standards, and many games of mediocre quality have either been published on there by big developers or indie developers, or have been greenlit by the community and published. Games such as Genderbender DNA Twister Extreme, which has the quality of a bad DeviantArt picture, or games such as Freedom Planet, which are basically Sonic fangames you can now buy with real money on Steam, or games such as Sakura Spirit, which is basically a hentai visual novel but somehow on Steam. Well, as hentai as it gets for Steam, that is, because keep in mind, Steam does not let you sell AO-rated games. However, they do let anything else pass. Hatred, however, was apparently too controversial for Steam, as even though it got up to rank 7 on Steam Greenlight when it came to most voted games, and even though it had over 13,000 yes votes, the game apparently was too violent or something for Steam, and Valve did not want that game on their service, so apparently it got pulled. So why is this a big deal? Because of the double standards. Even though Hatred is some dark and edgy game, you can easily purchase Postal on Steam. You know, that video game. I'm not talking about Postal 2, I'm talking about the first one, which is a lot like Hatred, except the only difference is it was released in 1997 and many stores refused to carry it due to its controversial content. However, now you can purchase it on Steam, and there's even a remake of it in development. Manhunt was also kind of the same way, as even though the sequel got banned from Steam due to being too violent and also consoles and they had to make a censored version, you can still buy the first one on Steam. And of course, as we all know, the Manhunt series is known for very graphic kills and deaths, pretty much. Dead Space 2, which is basically Gore the video game, that's allowed on Steam. Call of Duty 4, one of the games played by the Sandy Hook shooters, is allowed on Steam. Doom and Quake, where one of the Columbine shooters played that game and even made Doom maps, that game's on Steam. So why am I talking about this? Well, it's pretty hypocritical to ban one game for the same content as 2 or 3 other games that are allowed for the same exact things. Because keep in mind, you can go on Steam and you can buy games where you play as a terrorist. You can buy games where you have to shoot up an airport full of civilians as part of a mission with a storyline that makes no sense. You can buy games such as Grand Theft Auto 5, a game which was banned from Kmart stores in Australia and defended by the gaming press, funny enough. I mean, sure, Hatred might be a piece of crap game, but the point of it is, if Valve doesn't agree with you, they can take your game offline, and that's all that really needs to be said here. And while this is the PC, and while you can release any game free of Valve's intervention, the only problem with that is, when you release these games off Steam, you're not going to see them get as popular. And in fact, you might see more people pirating it if it's a popular game, because there are fewer people who can, like, let's just say, you can't go into GameStop and buy a GOG card, you can't go into GameStop and buy a Destora card, but you can buy a prepaid Steam card at GameStop. And it makes it a lot more convenient for people just to use Steam than, say, these other digital distribution services too, because after all, you've got many PC gamers who treat the PC like it's a console and only use Steam, who only use one service. And if your game is not on Steam, there's no doubt you'll lose sales. And I think that's all that needs to be said.